Indoors and outdoors for environmental safety. We follow licensing requirements and guidelines, and we really keep in compliance. And we do quarterly check-throughs and walkthroughs of our space to ensure that we're up to code. So we have our operations manager, myself, the education director, and then all of my line staff actually do a walkthrough of the entire classroom, and then also the outside space where all the families walk through, just to make sure that we're applying to a licensing and that we're keeping up to code.
Nadia, did you see the picture on the wall?
The learning environment for the children must be safe. You must maintain basic licensing regulations at all times. And so this is why we do our own monitoring. We talk about what's important in the environment, and then we talk about how to maintain that through sanitizing, through walkthroughs to do daily checks of equipment and materials. Is everything in good repair? We talk about slip, trip, and fall hazards, and that it isn't up to just one person to make sure that the garbage is picked up or that there's no water on the floor, that it's all of us together. I even share it with the parents. I let them know that maintaining a healthy and safe environment requires all of us, all of our vigilance together.
We did a survey a couple of years ago, and half the centers that we surveyed in California were spraying pesticides on site. So we've been getting child care programs to use integrated pest management instead of spraying, and to use more targeted, less harmful forms of pesticides.
Road builders.
Road builders.
To ensure emergency preparedness, and we do quarterly walkthroughs and trial runs with all our family and participants as if it was actually happening. So we all actually duck, go underneath tables. The kids are all prepared for it. We actually have a checkoff list so that teachers take their emergency backpacks, and then we actually walk them out and do an actual trial run as if we were going through an emergency disaster, just to make sure that we're always prepared for it.
Children get 2/3 of their nutrition in an ECE setting. So what we do with them in that period will really affect the trajectory of their health for the rest of their lives. We are hopefully changing the way we talk about food.
You have rice, peas and carrots, bananas, barbecue chicken or teriyaki chicken? Teriyaki chicken and veggie burger and milk. Enjoy.
And caregivers are sitting down at a table modeling good eating habits.
I made a complete shift in the past year to really change our food and beverage policy. And so we now have eliminated all juices, all sugary drinks, and what's considered junk food. And we've now implemented just water, low-fat milk, and really just food, grains, fruits, everyday vegetables into all of our snack meals.
Apple. Apple. Excellent. Muy bien.
We're asking children to make healthy choices. We're incorporating that into our curriculum. So we want to provide them food that is within the parameters of healthy choices, as well as providing families support with information.
Would you like some oranges? Can I show you? We can use this big spoon to scoop some into your bowl. Amber, did you want some?
We want to introduce the children to a variety of fruits and vegetables, and families have told us that when they go to the store, they will say, "Mom, that's called an eggplant. Mom, I had that at school, that's zucchini." And they will say, "Let's try that again. I want you to cook that." And then families sometimes will come back and say, "How do I cook that?" We incorporate our garden into our program where we do cooking in the classroom, as well as the planting. We have a cook, it's called Chef in the Classroom, who will come and do classroom activities with the children. They will teach them how to make different recipes. They will also work with families and do in-services for families to change the way they cook so that they could provide healthier choices.
Yep, I push it, you push it the rest. There you go. It's all done now. You push the rest in. Alrighty, buddy. All done.
For children with special needs, it's very likely will require some specific expertise. And so I think it's very important that people reach out, that we collaborate, that we coordinate to bring that special expertise.
What is that on your head, Aiden?
It's a cowboy.
It's a cowboy hat. You're right.
And so that what we end up doing is we're individualizing not just for the child with special needs, but we're better improving our ability to individualize and personalize instruction for all the children in our care.
Wash the spider out.
I had one child who came and he had been oxygen dependent and he'd been at home, and so he came at 2.5 with his oxygen, and the family was very concerned about it with all these children around and this oxygen tank and the tube, and we figured it out together. We figured it out together, and the children helped us figure that out. You know, that this is something that children can be involved in. Inclusive programs involve families and involves early childhood teachers, involves special educators, and involves children. An open discussion about all of our unique needs and what we need to do to take care of one another can be an enriching experience.
When staff sign the paperwork at the time of employment, agreeing to the fact that they are a mandated reporter, I talk to them about what that means. And I link it to our family-centered practice, our philosophy of family care. We're more than just caring for a child. And sometimes we have to do difficult things like report incidences of child abuse or neglect, suspected incidences of child abuse or neglect. And so allowing the staff to understand what their role is the director's job. Help, because they're in the classroom every day with the children and they have the day-to-day contact with the parents that a director wouldn't necessarily have. What does neglect look like? What does physical abuse look like? And what does this mean to me and what do I do about it?
In the classroom, I tend to provide the teachers with reminders about certain things because a lot of times the indicators of abuse, they may not be as aware of it. And so providing them with little bits of education or reminders about, what is in our understanding around child abuse and what child abuse is.
So helping them see what it looks like, helping them understand the process of making a report to Child Protective Services, and it's their responsibility to report suspected abuse or neglect. Realizing that if we do truly care about this family, by calling Child Protective Services, we're getting them the outside support that they need.
So Amber, can you rub your hands together and get the soap on both hands? There you go. And now we need to turn on the water. Oh, get both hands wet, both hands wet.
The most important way for early care and education professionals to conceive of health, physical development, and safety issues is that this is the time when children are developing habits and practices that will be with them for the rest of their lives. Helping teachers understand that they are establishing habits is important in ECE.
So Amber, can you get some water on your other hand? This hand right here.
Washing your hands is the most basic and effective way of preventing the spread of infectious disease. When you see kids who've gotten good instruction in how to sneeze in their sleeve, it's just automatic, and they're preventing the spread of infectious disease. Brushing their teeth, that's a huge preventive activity. Many kids in early care and education brush their teeth in that setting for the first time. We have to think of health as running through the whole ECE curriculum. When we take them outside, when we take them to the bathroom, when we take them to the lunch table, how we interact with their parents around a child's health problem, they all relate to health. And I think now we need to emphasize that health is the ground for the rest of what we want to accomplish in ECE.
All right. And then Amber, whenever you're done, we need to turn off the water.
The way that we promote health in our children and our families is really integrating it into the curriculum for the children in our programs to make it really fun. So taking advantage of going outdoors whenever we can and integrating it to their daily routine and daily schedules. So we have movement integrated into our daily schedule. So they are practicing and learning about health and safety because it's already integrated into everything that they do.
The relationships that teachers have with children, the way they talk to children, the way they show them regard, the way they make them feel safe, the way they make them feel they're interested in the child. All of those activities that we often think of as feeding intellectual ability and growth.
See the engine driver, pull the little handle, chuff, 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 and off we go.
Also impact the body and health in profound ways. Mental health consultants are extremely useful in ECE environments, so that if a teacher's having a problem with a kid who it seems like it may be a mental health issue, the mental health consultant, again, can work with the teacher in the classroom and then connect that child to services outside. I think many times these problems spiral out of control because a teacher just doesn't know how to handle something. And just, a consultation and some advice can just change the whole trajectory for that child.
So stepping back and trying to individualize for them, really focusing on what those individual children need from us, because every child is different. Their temperaments, what's happening in their home life, their learning styles will determine how we can support them. Having a primary caregiver or a primary teacher so that that child knows they have one person that they can rely on, that helps with their social emotional development and their resiliency.
We definitely serve a wide variety of different families from different cultural backgrounds, and a way that we really incorporate families and children to be really involved with our health and safety policies is really to get their buy-in by serving and finding where their interests are.
We had a group of parents very concerned about sugar intake and the number of birthdays that were being celebrated. And of course, for us, we wanted birthdays to be celebrated in a way that families could enjoy and participate. And that often meant sugary treats and cupcakes. So families got together and decided, well, there's only 10 or 15 of us in this advisory committee this year, and we don't want to speak for all families. But we're feeling strongly about this, so they developed a survey, and from the survey, they were able to develop a policy with us that birthdays would be celebrated one day a month, include all of the children in that month and all of the parents in that month, and the children would engage in making the food for the birthday celebration. And families submitted all kinds of wonderful, nutritious recipes with ripe bananas as the sweetening agent. We thought children will miss the cupcakes and the gooey frosting, and maybe it won't feel like a birthday. Children haven't missed it at all. The parents look forward to the cooking project, the celebration afterwards, and it's been a beautiful way to engage families.
One of the newer aspects of ECE is really helping families to find the health resources that they need so their kids can succeed.
We've really taken consideration from the community voicing that they really need more education around this. And so because of that, we've actually developed an initiative in 2010 that really focuses around health, safety, and education, especially working with immigrant families and newcomer families. We provide a lot of materials throughout our classroom spaces as well that focuses and pays a lot of attention around health and safety. And we provide our parents as well with abundance of information that we've actually gained from all of our partnerships through our local clinics, through our partnerships with UCSF, and through NEMS clinic right across the street. So we do a lot of resource sharing so that it's very easily available and accessible to our families here on site.
What are the really essential parts of physical development that ECE providers need to know in order to help kids be competent in the playground and in physical activity classes later in life? People understand now the importance of physical activity, but I think that they also need help with curriculum on how you implement all of this.
We realize that our children don't always get the opportunity to run and play outside. We don't want our children to go outside and sit down again. We want our children to be moving around. The grass area takes on multi-facets because they can exercise there. They do a lot of activities on there. We also do that with families, where we take the families outside and we walk them through a day of activities on the outside so that they can see what their children are doing on a regular basis.
The research shows that children really need instruction in physical development. They really need someone to get out there and show them how to throw a ball. And the research shows that kids who don't get that instruction, especially kids who are not as physically adept as other kids, that those kids can really be moved towards competence by instruction. And one of the things that providers said to me was, we don't know how to do this. We need help with learning how to teach kids these things.
We also have this coordinator actually invite instructors from the outside to teach health-related classes to our families and children. And we've established great partnerships with UCSF to actually have their health and education interns be placed at our site to conduct these classes and also to do workshops.